lose time. I would have waited a little longer, but I'm fucking desperate to find out what happens next. So we're playing more.
God damn it.
Leave her back to what's her face? Yeah, back to what's her face's perspective. It escapes me right now. We're in Evelyn's private drawing room. Tara is kneeling in front of the back door, wiggling a paperclip around in the lock. It looks like she's never done this before.
Tara, let's go. This is a bad idea.
I'm not leaving till I get in here. She knows something about Maddie. I know she does.
I look around the room. I've been in here plenty of times, but never into the connecting study. Evelyn hasn't so much as opened the door to it with me in the room. I'm starting to regret telling Tara about it. If we don't get out of here...
I'm not disagreeing, but this isn't going to help. We need to...
Shit!
She hisses and pulls her hand away. Her fingers are brilliant red and she holds them to her mouth.
Are you okay?
I think it burned me. What the hell? Screw this. Let's just break the door down.
She takes a step back from it. It looks like she's ready to kick it. Put my hand on her shoulder. Really can't think of a worse idea right now. You'll just end up hurting yourself.
Listen to me. We have to get out of here. Trust me.
She doesn't move to kick the door, but she also doesn't seem to have heard what I just said.
If she hurt Mads, I'll kill her.
She'd a lot more than hurt her, Tara. Tara vibrates in my hands. In this state, there's no telling what she'd do if I went there to stop her. She'd probably be lighting a fire in the corner of the room or something by now. I can't let her hurt her. I can't let her get hurt anymore, though. I can't let anyone get hurt. I can't let anyone else get hurt.
Listen, Tara. I've tried to force it open before. I think she has some kind of ward on it. No matter what we do, I don't think we're getting in there.
I'm not sure what Tara hopes to find in there anyway. Even if it is locked, I doubt Evelyn is arrogant enough to leave any real clues lying around in there.
There has to be some way in. There has to. We'll get at that office and we'll find out where she took Mads. I don't care how much weird magic bullshit Evelyn's got. We're gonna rescue Mads.
She still hasn't given up hope that Maddie's alive. I wish I could share the same optimism. All I can feel is guilt. All this is my fault. If I'd never asked them to come here, no one else would have been hurt.
Tara, we need to go. Whatever burned you probably alerted Evelyn. She could be on her way right now.
No, we can't give up now. Mads needs us.
Tara, we need to consider the possibility that...
Tara wheels towards me and grits her teeth. I can't tell if any of the anger she's feeling now is for me. If it is, I can't blame her. She hasn't been willing to face the truth of the situation. But she has to face it eventually.
Then what, Morgan? That she just killed my friend? Do you seriously think she'd do that to Mads just for looking around the woods?
Yes, I do.
My voice is colder than I mean it to be. I instantly wish I could take it back, but she still doesn't understand. I get that she doesn't want to face the idea of Maddie being dead. But she can't ignore the danger we're in. The look in Tara's eyes somehow says it's helping right now.
I'm sorry. You're right. We don't know for sure yet. But we can talk about this later. Right now, we really need to...
Behind me, the door to the room slowly creaks open. My heart stops. I can't move. I can't turn around. I already know what I'm going to see.
Good morning, Morgan. Tara.
This bitch. Instantly, I dash between Evelyn and Tara. Nothing good can come from these two being in the same room together. I have to keep them apart. Evelyn just laughs. Just the sound of her voice makes me want to run, but I can't.
You both seem so on edge. I'm sorry you don't seem to find my drawing room as relaxing as I do. Maybe it's time for some redecorating. How would you feel about a more earthy palette?
She crosses the room to the window and leisurely picks up one of the curtains, pretending to examine it. I can feel Tara behind me seething and getting angrier by the second.
No opinions? You come into here uninvited, and you'd think you could at least pretend to be polite.
Now she glares at me. I can feel the temperature in the room drop instantly. I used to think it was something that was just in my head. I've changed my mind about that recently. It really is getting colder.
You never could, though, could you? You never could play along. Always so obstinate. You have to fight every step of the way. Just like when you were young. Always cutting your own hair short. Because nothing was ever good enough for you. The clothes I bought, the food I made, and you had to control just one thing.
A rush of heat and cold claw on the nape of my neck, a rush of shame. Evelyn's mouth twisted slightly, just enough into a smile, and she breathes a freezing laugh of pride.
When was it you realized you couldn't even hold scissors anymore? And you ran around town begging someone to cut your hair.
Fuck.
No wonder no one else ever wanted to be around you. I imagine that's why you had to look all the way overseas to make a friend.
She shoots a glance at Tara, baring her fangs in a grin. She's not even trying to hide what she is.
And well, look what happened to them.
That's too much for Tara. She's been quiet this whole time, maybe for the same fear that gripped me, but now she steps forward. I hold up my arm to prevent her from getting too close.
What the hell did you do with Maddie?
Evelyn turns back around the window, barely acknowledging Tara at all, and stares out of it absent-mindedly.
You know, the forest is a very dangerous place. Every year it seemed there would be a new death. Someone would go missing in the winter. We wouldn't find them until the spring thaw.
She turns around. The look in her face is so placid and empty. I've never seen anyone so completely devoid of empathy.
That's why they're off limits now. That's why we have the curfew. There hasn't been a death like that in almost 10 years. Something we are very proud of.
She turns back to Tara again and takes a step closer. Somehow the room seems to get even colder as she does.
That is, until your friend. It's honestly frustrating that she would ruin our record so selfishly. I wonder if she had any idea of the headache she was going to cause me.
Bitch. She shakes her head. She's smiling again.
Enough of the bullshit. Mads wouldn't go out there and get herself lost. She wouldn't. She's way too cautious for that. You did something to her and you're gonna tell me, or I swear to God.
Evelyn looks up and her smile is gone and her eyes are as sharp as fangs. Tara goes silent the moment those eyes are on her. I'm shivering now, with all my arms close to my body. The air seems to crackle with ice. I try to take a step backwards, but Tara won't budge. I'm not sure if it's out of anger or fear.
I've been so patient with you, Morgan. Endlessly patient. With you and your friends. A mother's patience never wears thin. But then, I never was much of a mother, was I?
No, don't!
Tara's raised in the air, bound by invisible force. A look of fear spreads across her face. I reach out my hand, but it's too late. Behind me, Tara raises slowly into the air. Oh shit!
What? Morgan, help! What's happening?
Her eyes are wide with terror. Tears well up in her eyes. Well up in my eyes. I have to do something.
Please, don't! You don't have to!
Evelyn's mouth shifts slightly to one side. She looks so disinterested. She doesn't even take pleasure in it. She barely notices us and what we feel.
How many years did I give you the carrot, Morgan? How many? Eventually, you'll have to learn.
And just like that, Tara shoots backwards and slams into the wall so hard the whole room shakes. She crumbles to the ground in a heap. She's not moving. Evelyn doesn't move as I run to Tara and lean down to look at her. She's awake, still twitching.
Tara, don't move! Just stay still. You'll be okay.
Well then, please make sure you put everything back where you found it. The maids have enough work as it is.
My heart starts beating faster. The heat on the nape of my neck spreads down my back. But instead of the hollow pit in my stomach that's supposed to follow, I feel my shoulders stiffen, my breath gets slower and more controlled. The edges of my vision start going dark. I feel myself biting down on my own lip. I look down and see my fists are clenched so tight my knuckles have gone white. For the first time I don't feel any fear. Just hatred. If that actually turns away, the room instantly returns to its normal temperature, but I'm still freezing. Her heels click on the hardwood and gets quieter as she leaves. She stops at the door.
Have a lovely day, girls.
Evelyn disappears and the door slams behind her. I still can't move. What a bitch. As until Tara lets out a loud groan that I snap back to my senses.
Are you okay? Did she break anything?
I don't think so.
Can you stand?
She makes it halfway up before stumbling. I grab her and throw her arm over my shoulder. She winces and lets out a tiny whimper.
Let's get back to the house. I've got a first aid kit there.
As long as I get to lay down, we can go wherever you want.
Of course. You can use my bed. Come on.
She takes a few shaky steps before leaning against me. Let's start.
I think you're gonna have to take the lead on this one.
Tara does her best to keep to help. Tara does her best to help me get up the stairs, but whether it's due to injury or shock, she's barely able to stay standing while leaning on me. Climbing a staircase is difficult, but at the moment there isn't really anywhere else I can take her. When I open the door to my room, Jeladara is in the center of the room, cleaning her paws contemptively. She doesn't look up at us.
Come on. Let's get you on the bed.
I half expect Tara to give me some kind of knowing look as she stumbles over to the bed, but she doesn't. She just nods weakly. Tara collapses face first over the side of the bed. Jeladara doesn't even budge as it shakes with the weight. She acts like she doesn't even notice.
Jeladora, move please.
No response. She just continues slowly raking her tongue over her paws. Ever since Tara and Maddie got here, she's been particularly obstinate. I wish I knew why. It's hard not to be frustrated with her, especially with everything that's happening, but I do my best to just gently force her to move by climbing into the bed next to Tara. Jeladora finally looks at me, paws held indignantly in the air.
There's plenty of room on the floor.
She does speak, holy shit. Tara shoots back up, yelping and almost knocking me over. She doesn't seem to notice, she just stares down at Jeladora with wide eyes.
Did your cat just talk?
Jeladora cranes her neck around to look at Tara, and then speaks again.
No.
Her voice is languid and drips out of her mouth like syrup. Tara's eyes dart back from the cat to me to the cat again, hoping for some kind of concrete response.
Yeah, I told you.
Her face lights up with newfound energy. The lines of pain that had creased it disappear in an instant.
I knew it! I knew I could trust you! Sure, it was weird that you didn't actually talk, but I get it. Shy around strangers. That's valid, and also, big mood. But I knew it. I knew you weren't lying.
Tara, you nearly died! I smile. After everything we've been through together, a part of me feels warm when she says that. My chest glows with a warmth that I've only felt around Tara after everything. It should be obvious that she believes me. Tara's sincerity catches me by surprise every time. Jeladora doesn't seem to find it as endearing. She rises methodically, then pauses towards the foot of the bed. I'm worried about her. Every month, she's got more and more cat-like, but this was the first time she didn't speak at all. We're so close to the full moon now. She's not going to get much stronger than this. I can't help but wonder how much time she has left.
Jeladora, how are you feeling?
She looks up at me with her bright blue eyes, alive with magic and intelligence.
I feel hungry. Did you bring me food, Morgan? I don't think you did.
She stares at me. The expression on her cat face is unreadable.
I didn't. I'm sorry, Jeladora. It's been a difficult morning.
Morgan looks to Tara.
You don't have anything, do you?
I think I have a melted chocolate bar in my pocket, but can magical talking cats eat chocolate?
Jeladora regards Tara silently. Her white tail switches slowly across the bedsheets. Then, without saying anything or giving any other indication of her intentions, she turns and hops onto the windowsill.
Jeladora, wait.
She turns her head back to me and gazes into my eyes. I feel like I'm being measured. I always feel that way around her.
No. You wait.
She turns away and sways her tail lazily.
I will be back.
With that, she leaps to the window to the branches of the nearby tree. She slips through them like a rush of white water until she's gone from sight. Tara and I sit there quietly for a few minutes before she finally speaks.
Your cat is weird.
I mean, there's way more pressing matters, Tara.
Yeah, a little.
Tara smiles. Morgan smiles back. The two sit together. Gelladora is gone for hours. I need to talk to her. Things have changed so much today. I think she'll know it today. I hope she will. In the meantime, I tend to Tara. She protests at first, saying she's fine. I don't doubt she thinks that, but I want to confirm that for myself. Eventually, I'm able to convince her to let me look. Her back is essentially one giant bruise, but that's it. It doesn't look like anything was broken at least. It's a relief, but maybe we're just lucky. Maybe next time Evelyn will do worse. There's no telling what she's capable of. And I can't let anyone else get hurt.
So what's the deal with Gelato?
I open my mouth to speak, but before I can, Tara cuts me off.
I mean, I know she can talk. Please don't say she can talk. You're gonna say she can talk, and I'm seriously asking you don't. I want to know what her deal is. Promise me you won't say she can talk.
I promise I won't say she can talk.
Tara nods.
Her name is Gelladora.
Tara stares at me for a second before we both laugh.
Okay. Her name is Gel Dorado. But, like, why can she talk? I've met a lot of weird cats, but none of them could actually talk.
Well, it's because she's not really a cat.
Of course.
Tara tries her best to sound like she's completely understood the situation now, but it's obvious she hasn't. I take a deep breath.
Gelladora isn't a cat. She's a fairy. I don't know a lot more than that. I know Evelyn cursed her to be in that form. Her memories are hazy though, and it's only been getting worse. She wasn't always like this. She's been around as long as I can remember. She only started talking to me when I was 12, but even back then, she's forgetting she was ever a fairy. I'm worried that soon she's not going to be anything other than a house cat.
Tara nods, seemingly taking everything in, and then she's quiet a moment, thinking about it.
She doesn't really seem that helpful.
I don't have my head, sadly.
She used to be. I'd have never known anything about what Evelyn was without her.
I bet my live.
For a long time, she was my only friend. She was the only one I could really trust. I still believe in her. I still believe she can help.
I look away. Even if I'm telling her my story, there's still so much I'm not ready to share about growing up here. I don't know if I'll ever be ready.
I know it sounds like I was just a lonely little kid looking for a friend. But I promise she has the knowledge we need in there somewhere.
Tara starts leaning towards me, while letting out a grunt of pain as she moves. I go to push her back down into the bed, but before I can do that, her arms wrap around me. She gives me a gentle squeeze, and I lean into her in response. I want to hug her too, but I know that wouldn't be doing her back any favors. So I sit there and let her hold me, trying to take refuge in it, trying to remember that I'm not alone.
You don't have to make excuses. I believe you. And I'm sorry you had to grow up like that. It's their loss that they didn't stick around to see how cool you turned out to be.
She pulls back and grins at me, the same goofy grin I've seen 100 times before. But it's so much better in person than it was on the screen. And it's exactly what I need right now. Tara and I wait out the day while watching dumb videos on the internet, trying to take our mind off things, if only for a moment. They take longer to buffer than to watch. It's dark by the time Gelladora slips back in through the window. She's quiet, but even if I hadn't seen her, I still know she was there. Something about the air in the room changes when she enters it, the same as Evelyn. Gelladora thinks they were close once. She doesn't know how, but I believe her.
Hello, Gelladora.
Meowdy!
Morgan stops slightly at Tara's greeting.
How's your hunting?
She looks at me, and if ever a cat could give a self-satisfied grin, I swear she would right now. Her voice seems to luxuriate in it.
It was good, Morgan. Much better than your hunt this morning.
She jumps into my lap and rubs her head against my hand.
How does she know about that?
I know much about Evelyn.
Her voice is deep as stone and rumbles in her throat with a purr. She stops rubbing on my hand for a moment and looks up at me.
And Evelyn knows everything about you. What did you think would happen, cursed child?
I hate when she calls me that. I spent years dealing with it looming over me. The last thing I want is her rubbing it in. Even more, I hate that she's right. I should have known this would happen. I should have kept Tara from going to the office. but I never imagined Evelyn was that strong, and Tara is paying the price for my failure.
Evelyn is as good a hunter as any cat. She'll never let her prized vessel out of her sight. She's watching you even now, Morgan. And when the moon is full, she will finally strike.
Wait, that means she saw all the shit, all the unwholesome activities those two were up to. I don't know how to feel about that. And then, still in my lap, she curls up and closes her eyes. I'm not going to get any more out of her tonight. Tara doesn't say anything for a while. She looks contemplative, even. But when she does speak, she asks the question I knew she would.
Why'd she call you cursed?
I wish I could lie. It may be the first time I've ever wanted to lie to someone other than Evelyn, but I can't. Tara deserves to know what she's involved in.
Because I am.
Tara just stares at me, half in shock. She quietly waits for me to continue. I hesitate a moment before continuing regardless.
Evelyn is not my real mother. My real mother died before I was born. And whatever Evelyn is, she took her body. She's done it to our family for years. Jeladora and I pieced it together from town records and scraps of my mother's diary. Every couple decades, she has to change hosts. And
I look into Tara's eyes. This is the first time I've ever told anyone this. I've ever told all this to anyone.
And you're next.
Tara says the words I don't want to. I nod.
Evelyn's going to make her move on the night of the full moon. That's what Jeladora says.
I close my eyes. I know she's right, but I don't want to admit it, even to myself. The full moon is so close. And then I feel a hand gripped tight on my own. I open my eyes and see Tara staring back into them.
Wow, that's a lot. And, like, it's really hard for me to know what to say here, but thank you for telling me. We're gonna stop Evelyn, and if it has to be before the moon is full for whatever reason, then we'll do that and we'll save Mads. We'll stop her, I swear.
She's smiling so big and so broad, and she sounds so damn confident I want to believe her. More than anything, I hope she's right. For the first time in my life, I want to trust someone. Back over to Maddie being with her ghost GF in the woods somewhere. I'm starting to get used to it, just a little bit. I do my best to keep a regular human schedule as much as I can, going to bed at night, waking up in the morning, even if they're unnecessary. They help me feel a little bit more like myself. Like not quite everything has changed. Hunger or not, I'd kill for a cheeseburger or something though. I don't know what I'd do without Abigail. She's never far from my side, and she's an anchor for all this, endlessly supportive and positive. I know she views my circumstances, well, differently than I do. That she enjoys having me here, but I can't fault her for that. I still can't fathom the depths of the loneliness she's felt, with nothing but a silent tree spirit for company. The days that we've spent together have been pleasant now. Has been pleasant enough, but I still don't want to accept this fate. I can't. I rise to my spot on the stone floor. Sunlight pours through the stained glass windows of the church, and has been for some time. There hasn't been much snow since the storm that I was caught in. All of my time has been spent here in the church or exploring the woods with Abigail. I try to see the charm in some of the places she's taken me, but they all feel the same. Trees and rocks and snow in various combinations. The forest may be huge, but it's stifling in how repetitive it all feels. I keep hoping that Tara and Morgan might come by, so I could at least see them, even if they can't see me. So far they haven't. I look around the church, expecting to see Abigail waiting like usual, but she's nowhere to be found. I can hear her, though, from just outside the church, singing. I wait for the doors to watch. Just a few feet away, she stands with her back to the church and me. Her arms outstretched, but not fully. She sways softly as she sings. And God, how she sings. Her voice is like a lit candid, like a lilted cadence. I'm not even the wind dares to interrupt or quiet her. It's unreasonably beautiful. The kind of voice that if you heard it on the radio, you'd have to pull out your phone to see who they're listening to. And to think, got my own private concert like this. She faces the sky, and I don't need to be able to see her face to visualize the smell I can hear in her voice. The song she sings is wordless, but still beautiful. I wonder if it's something she came up with herself. I imagine her spending years playing with the melody, or maybe she's just making it up as she goes along. I noticed then that I'm not the only one watching. A small flock of half a dozen or so birds crowd around her feet, watching in rapt attention. They hop around, occasionally cheeping to join in. She gives a hand and they flutter about, never perching on her, but never leaving either. From the trees, just barely peeking out, a young deer observes as well. It isn't close enough for her to touch, but close enough for me to count the spots on its belly. It's just like something out of a cartoon where she's the fairy tale princess who's friends with the wildlife. I wonder if it's because of her. I wonder if it's because of her in particular, or if the animals don't feel threatened just because we're spirits, not flesh and blood. Welcome back, Fiona. You missed a lot. Like a lot. The plot went off the fucking rails when you left. To summarize, Evelyn's secretly an evil shapeshifter. Maddie was lured into the woods by her and froze to death, and now she's also a ghost. She also has telekinesis and threw Tara across the room and is going to kill everyone. Also, the tree spirit apparent is also chill now, and was the one that brought Abigail back to life. So yeah, the plot went fucking places when you were gone. I know, right? I don't know where this shit was going, but definitely not that. So anyway, this is why I desperately wanted to get back to this game, because I have to fucking know what happens next. Same. Okay. I'll wait for you to grab something. At the very least, if I sit on this screen long enough when I'm going back and editing this, whenever I end up getting around to it, I'll be like, oh look, there's a section where I'm talking to chat. And I'll be able to stop it. So this plot is going fucking wild. Okay. You get over there, Peony? She died. Or she's getting alcohol. Okay, alright. Push back, we're ready. Abigail and Maddie are currently busy chilling in the woods being ghost girlfriends. Because there's literally nothing else to do, they're stuck there. All too soon, it's over. Her voice fades away without wobbling, and the birds instantly disperse. The deer bounds back into the woods, invisible. She turns to face me.
Good morning, Madison.
Oh yeah, Abigail can... Maddie can hear her now, because they're both ghosts. I'm blushing, and I don't know why.
Good morning. That was... amazing.
Thank you. I hope I didn't wake or disturb you.
Nah, not at all. Besides, if I'd known, I'd have gotten up early just to hear more.
Aw, you're flattering me.
No way, not at all. I mean it. You have a beautiful voice.
No, she's blushing too.
Thank you.
How did you learn to do that without scaring away the animals?
It wasn't really a matter of learning. It just happened naturally, over time. I sing for myself, first and foremost. I think eventually, they realized that I wasn't a threat.
It seems like they were enjoying the show too.
It's quite the compliment if even the birds like my song.
There was a deer, too. You might not have seen him, though. He was kinda hiding in the bushes.
Oh, was he? I'll have to introduce you next time. He's quite friendly, too.
Really? You know him?
Most likely. I suppose it could have been a new deer. I'd have to see him to know for sure.
Nowadays, there are these things called petting zoos, where you can pay money to walk around and pet tame animals, like deer and sheep and pigs. I've never heard of them just making friends with people, though.
That sounds marvelous. Have you ever been to one?
Not since I was a lot younger. They're mostly for kids.
Hell yeah. I recall the Lamb was good, but it didn't really look like my kind of game.
Adults in the modern world sound awfully boring in that case.
Abigail walks to my side, standing close like she always does. Wonder if it's intentional. Together we face the forest. She touches my arm so lightly that I wonder if that's intentional too.
If you're feeling up for it, there's some place I'd like to show you, here in the forest. It's one of my favorite spots.
Of course, lead on. I'd love to see anything that you think is special.
Say, it's not like I have anywhere else to be, or refrain from saying that out loud. I'm genuinely interested in what she wants to show me. I like spending time with Abigail. But I hope that she'll also be willing to answer some more of my questions now too. Having fun together is nice, but it just feels like a distraction from the matter at hand. Speaking of hands, Abigail takes mine ever so gently.
Let's go then.
How does Abigail end up just being the cutest fucking thing constantly? They take off at a brisk pace, but the distance falls away faster than normal. I'm bore along by her boundless enthusiasm, and surely more than a little magic. Trees fly by at a blur, impossibly fast. It's like being on the train again. Like snowflakes, they melt into my vision faster than I can really notice. Speed is some gift of the forest, I imagine, a consolation for what it's done to me. Our footsteps are formless against the snow. We're walking in the air. It's the same as when I first met Abigail. That feels like an eternity ago. For at least a couple hours more, I try to push those thoughts away so I can enjoy whatever it is she wants to show me. I want to enjoy this for my own sake. For her sake too. I have trouble thinking of anything other than her. The gentleness of her grip, the light and joyful way she moves across the ground, the certainty with which she pulls me forward. Every so often she turns around to make sure I'm still there, though I'm sure she's very aware of her interlocked fingers. I know that I am. I guess I can add that to the ever-growing list of feelings to sort through. The forest shifts even faster than I did a few days ago. The forest shifts even faster than it did a few days ago. When we went to visit the forest spirit, it changes too fast for me to keep track of any reference points. I try to focus on one spot for too long, I get a little dizzy. So I stop focusing on that and just go with the flow. Eventually Abigail slows her pace, and passing the forest reverts to a normal rate as well. At first glance, it seems like any other place we've visited. When I look closer, I start to notice small differences. Some trees are devoid of snow, with piles of it beneath them, as if someone brushed them clean. Others are decorated with strange, paint-like streaks of colour, almost blue, but some are white. On other trees, icicles dangle from the branches and give off a strange glow. When I approach one, the glow dims. Abigail pays it no mind. This must not be strange for her either. I hurry to catch up, though she's only gotten a few steps away.
We're almost there. It's just up ahead.
Through the trees, I can already see where she's taking me. Splashes of brilliant pink peek out just ahead, mostly obscured by the barren brown trees. I don't even have time to be curious about what they are before we arrive. A splendid grove of colourful trees spread out before us, surrounding a small pond that must be enchanted. The leaves that hang from the trees are salmon pink, sprinkled with flickering lights. Lavender bushes crowd their base, sparkling with dew or magic. while snow covers the ground all the way up to the shores of the pond. The trees themselves are devoid of it, much like the forest spirit's home. I wonder if the two are related somehow. Even more remarkable, though, is the pond itself is still unfrozen. Its glassy surface is smooth, save for the occasional ripple that spreads across. It's small enough that they can see clear across the other side. It makes the place feel even more secret and hidden. I could wander the forest for years and never stumble across it. I move slowly towards the water. This place deserves calmness.
Oh, Abigail. It's beautiful.
The water laps at my feet, though remains undisturbed. Like a vampire, I have no reflection, a fact that I pointlessly try to ignore.
Where are we? What makes this place so special?
This is one of my favorite places. Isn't it lovely? As for what makes it special,
Her eyes twinkle conspiratorially.
fairies.
There's a beat of silence. I feel like I should be surprised at her answer, but I'm not. After everything I've seen, fairies are downright mundane. I remember her mentioning them before too. I look around, wondering if I've missed them hiding somewhere. I don't see anything. Abigail laughs.
Just as decorators. They aren't around right now. They much prefer the nighttime. They're far more active in the moonlight. You can still see traces of them, though.
Fairies. God, Phoebe. As an example, she cuts one of the icicle, bulbs that hang from the trees. Inside, a faint light beats like a heart, dim enough to be invisible in the daytime.
I'm sure they're around, watching. But I've only met them once myself. It may be years before you do.
There it is again, the promise of eternity spent like this. I bite my lip.
I think that's okay with me. I've had enough magic for 1 week.
Yes, understandable.
She walks back to the shore of the pond and sits down. I take a seat beside her.
Really though, thank you for bringing me here. It's nice.
I'm glad. I wanted to show you that not everything about it is bad. That unlife does have its own little moments of niceness.
I look at her, but she stares pointedly away, towards the pond. Her cheeks redden a little bit.
Unlife is a good word for it.
Do you think so? I worried before you woke up that I would have forgotten how to speak or forgotten words. I talked to myself to keep in practice, waiting for a day when I would meet someone again. That's also why I sing, so that I don't forget how much I enjoy it, even if nobody listens. I know that it's silly, but sometimes a bit of silliness can be what helps me keep going.
Why does this game have to be so sad? I came here for wholesome lesbians, not death and evil shapeshifter mayor people.
I don't think it's silly at all. Besides, if I could sing like you, then I'm sure I'd do it all the time too.
I could teach you if you'd like.
Oh no, you don't know what you're getting into. I'm pretty sure I'm unteachable when it comes to singing. You'd have birds flying miles away instead of coming to listen.
She laughs.
Come now, I'm sure it can't be that bad. I knew nothing of singing when I first started. I simply practiced and practiced. Everything gets better with practice and time.
My singing voice has got to be the one exception.
A middle school choir teacher even told me there was no way I could ever be a singer. That was one of the most traumatic. It was one of the most traumatic days of my 12 short years back then.
In all of existence?
Out of everything.
In that case, I suppose I must hear it, just to know. You can't promise something like that and then not demonstrate.
No way. Not happening.
What if we sang a duet?
Definitely not.
Oh, you're no fun.
She playfully swipes at my shoulder.
Are there any instruments that you do enjoy? Any that I've heard of, that is?
Piano. I've taken lessons since I was a little girl.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. I miss it.
I flex my fingers, staring down at them, remembering the feeling of keys. Even before coming out here, it had been a while since I played. I don't think I've ever consciously stopped. It just happened over time.
Most of the time, the only music I'd have the opportunity to listen to was during prayers, or the occasional traveling performer. Sometimes I'd convince Mr. Braun, who played the organ, to show me some of the pieces he'd learned in the city.
She says that with a sly smile, sharing some private joke with me.
Do you remember the names of any of the pieces? I wonder if I've heard of them.
Oh yes, there was...
She bites her nail thinking about it.
Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
She squirms, wiggling around like she's hoping the memory will fall into place. Finally, she shakes her head.
Maybe not. It seems I've forgotten. Do you think there's a chance, though? Are you very familiar with songs from, well, my time?
Some of them, yeah. A lot of the most famous and respected composers come from those days. From this part of the world, too.
Abigail sighs wistfully and looks off into the distance.
I'm glad to hear that. They must be magnificent to be remembered so many years later. How nice that must be, to leave behind a legacy, to be missed.
To be missed. The way she says it is wistful, a dreamy sigh, like something she longs for. I glance over, half expecting her to be crying, but her face is steady and calm. She catches me looking and smiles.
I'm sorry. I'm just feeling a little nostalgic.
You don't need to apologize. I like hearing what's on your mind.
I'm glad. It would be rather unfortunate if, after everything, we didn't get along.
We both laugh at the idea.
I do have another question, though. A personal one. I know you said I can ask you anything, but...
I meant it. Please, go ahead.
Well, before, you said that you've never even tried to... go back. Escape. Whatever the right word for it would be. Why is that? Doesn't it bother you, being stuck like this?
Abigail scratches at the soft dirt beneath us. Of course her fingers move impotently through it, changing nothing.
If you don't want to answer, that's okay.
I don't mind. I'm just thinking of what to say. So, I suppose that you've been thinking about it a lot, right? How to go back.
I nod.
Almost constantly. I don't know if it's possible or anything, but don't get me wrong, I'm beyond grateful that you saved me at all. But it feels like we're so close to being alive, but not. Everything's changed, but at the same time, it's like nothing has. I don't feel much different, but everything's different. I have a whole life out there. Or at least I did. I can't just forget about it. Or move on, or give up, or something.
I understand.
She's quiet. I ponder if I went too far. If I asked something that I shouldn't have. In a lot of ways, it's one of the most intimate and personal questions I could possibly ask. Then she shifts around to face me better.
I didn't have much left once I moved on. My family, and those I care about. I had no desire to return to them. And then time started to pass. At first the days felt slow, torturously slow. I did nothing but sit around and mope, never straying far from the forest spirit who had saved me. But then I started to explore more, to get to know the forest, find moments of happiness. I was still terribly lonely, of course. It has been, until you got here. But I can honestly say that I didn't hate it. I sang, I watched, I found my own joy where I could. Eventually, time left me behind. The people I had known grew old and died. I'm sure many forgot about me, long before I forgot about them. At some point, there was nothing for me to want to go back to. The rest of the world outside this forest is just a maze that I don't know how to navigate. Here in the forest, I know nearly all there is to know. There's no grief or loss or pain, There's just peace.
Before I can respond, she stands up, brushing away imaginary dirt from her gown.
Would you fill up for another walk through the woods? Perhaps this time I can show you where the wisest, most handsome-looking owl nests. It's been so long since I've said hello to him.
She offers me a hand. I take it, and the obvious subject change. She helps me to my feet.
Sure. Let's go.
With a smile, she leads me back towards the trees. So many of the conversations that I've had with Abigail are painful reminders, either of the years of solitude she's endured, or of what I can look forward to in my future. Both make me very certain of one thing: I'm glad that she's here with me. Switching over to Maddie's perspective, let's go. It's been days since Evelyn attacked Tara, since Dura spoke to her. Days of fruitless searching for Maddie, and Tara is still trying to act like she's okay. She pores over every piece of local history she can find. She makes jokes, she tells stories. She pretends she isn't losing hope every day we don't find Maddie. She's lying. It's her body that tells the truth. She pulls me closer when she's under me. She stays in my arms for longer than she did before. I don't even notice she's doing it. But years spent hiding my emotions have made me pretty good at spotting it in someone else. Is she doing it for me, for herself, both? That's the only thing I still don't know.
Morgan?
I hear Tara's voice calling from the kitchen. I smell the smoke a second later. I'm out of the bedroom before I realize I'm moving. My mind fills with a million possibilities. What if Evelyn's already here? What if the cabin's burning? What if...
I think I owe you a new pan.
Tara's fidgeting nervously. A cloud of black smoke bellows from the pan on the stove. I can't even tell what was supposed to be in it. Whatever it was, it's charcoal now.
You guys don't have, like, a fire extinguisher in here, right?
I let out a breath I was holding. I shouldn't have panicked like that. Does Tara know what? Does Tara know that the mayor is secretly a shapeshifter or something? She does. Maddie let her in on it. And then Tara got fucking telekinesis thrown across the room when she confronted the mayor about it. So she very much knows. I'm just glad she's okay.
We don't need one. Let me see that.
I'll walk past her and grab the pan. Before she can say anything, I open the door and toss whatever was in the pan into the snow. I run a rag under the tap and toss it to her.
Why don't you get the smoke off the wall before it stains? I'll take care of this.
I'm still coming down from my adrenaline. I have to make a conscious effort to say it as gentle as possible. I don't want her to think I'm mad at her. She seems happy being given something to do. She smells and tries to salute with the wrong hand and ends up slapping herself in the face with the wet rag. I swear she does stuff like this on purpose sometimes. While Tara scrambles to duty, I start to wash off the charred remains still clinging to the pan. After a few moments, Tara shuffles nervously behind me.
You don't cook much, do you?
Does not cooking at all fall under not cooking much? Because if so, yeah.
Then why did you...
Her eyes flick towards the counter and I follow her gaze. There's a tray sitting there. It's a mess. A piece of clumsily sliced fruit, a cup of liquor, blackened toast.
You were making me breakfast.
Tara looks guilty.
Yeah, well, you know.
She looks down and starts fidgeting with her shirt.
I figure that since we're leaving the cabin, it'd be a waste to just leave it here. And, I don't know, you've been really helpful and stuff. And I thought maybe I could pay you back a bit. But I just wasted the food anyway.
My mind reels. I can't utter a single sound. I don't really have any friends. The few people I'm on good terms with would never do something like this. Evelyn stopped preparing meals for me the instant I could make them for myself. Even when she did, they weren't much more than leftovers or of what she made for herself.
It was a dumb idea. Sorry.
Tara and Morgan confirm their feelings for each other with a tearful kiss. Let's go! My body moves on its own. My arms outstretch and wrap around her, for I know I'm reaching up to her face and pressing my lips against hers. The minute I actually process what I'm doing and pull away, my arms drop to my side. We both stand there awkwardly for a moment before I'm able to speak.
Thank you.
You're thanking me for screwing up making breakfast?
I'm thanking you for trying.
Oh, right. I guess that makes sense.
Kara, you did absolute disaster, lesbian. I doubt someone like her would understand why this means so much to me. She has good people in her life. Random acts of kindness must be commonplace for her. For me, I've never been treated as anything but a tool. I spent years turning the idea in my head, thinking I deserved it. It was easy enough to believe. So this moment means more than I could possibly say. Even if I actually knew how to talk to people, I couldn't do it. Best I could do is try to repay it in a kindness.
Maybe we could make something together? After all your videos have taught me, I'd be happy to teach you a few things in return.
Are you sure? I mean, I literally know nothing about cooking. All I do is slow you down.
She protests, but the smile on her face makes it clear how much she really wants to do this. Seeing that grin in person is way more radiant than seeing it for a screen.
That's okay. I'll take the lead, and we can go slow.
I take her hand again. She squeezes it, and I squeeze back.
Now, let's start with teaching you how to use a stove without burning the house down.
That's probably a good one to know, yeah?
I grab the sausages from the fridge and toss them in the now clean pan before putting it back on the stove.
Okay, so you're going to want to have the heat a little lower than the absolute maximum for this one.
I figured the higher it went, the faster it would cook.
Technically, you're right, but that's also how you burn things beyond recognition.
I move behind her, put my hand on the pan handle, pressing against her back to move her hand side to side.
Keeping it in motion is a good way to make sure it cooks evenly.
Right, cool.
I take her for the basics. She handles instructions surprisingly well. It helps that she's eager to learn. After the sausages, we move to toast, and coffee. She's sloppy, but she makes it work.
You're doing great. I'm impressed.
Well, doing it with you is a pretty effective motivator.
Very subtle.
When am I anything but?
We finish up with the eggs, then sit down to eat. She powers through her meal, finishing before I'm even halfway through.
Holy shit! That was so good!
Looks like you're a better cook than you thought.
Oh, please. That was like 25% me at most. But thank you. I definitely learned enough to surprise Mads when she gets back.
Mention of Maddie instantly sucks some of the joy from the room. Nice as this has been, I know it's only temporary shelter from the cloud still looming over our heads. Her smile doesn't falter at all, but I can see her eyes twitching slightly after she speaks. I wish I could think of something reassuring to say. I tried disagreeing with her, but I know how hollow it would sound. But once again, she pushes it back inside. I know how that feels, although I've had a much harder time smelling afterwards.
And the best part is that we don't have to wash any of the dishes since we're leaving after this.
We're washing the dishes.
Oh, come on!
She reluctantly drags herself over to the sink. I remain seated and continue eating. A few seconds later, Tara reappears casually.
Hey, quick question. It should be okay if we leave Maddie's stuff here, right? I'd hate for her to come back and be missing all her super important films.
It should be fine. With us out of the way, Evelyn won't have any reason to focus on the cabin anymore.
Hey, Morgan, can you come here for a sec?
I jog down the hallway to find her staring at a hefty black bag sitting in the hallway.
What's that?
It's Mads' camera equipment. I was just thinking that maybe we should shoot a video before we leave.
Like, film an episode?
Not quite. More like a summary of what's happened, for reference. Kinda like a black box in a plane. That way there'll be a record. Something that could help anyone else who decides to look into this.
A dead drop.
She flinches at the term. It's probably a bit too morbid for her liking.
It's worth a shot. I can help you film it.
Are you sure? That's a professional quality camera. Even I don't know how half the shit it does works. That's Maddie's domain.
I'm sure I can figure something out. It can't be too hard to get the basics down.
I grab the bag and sling it over my shoulder, then grab the tripod with my other hand.
Alright, let's get to work. Okay, so, wait, let me...
Hang on, I think I've got it.
No, that's just going to access the archive. We need to get the focus right for the main shoot.
Things aren't going well. Neither of us can figure out how to work the camera. My only contribution has been getting it on the tripod. Most of the terms Tara is using flies over my head. She claims that Maddie's the one who knows all about how to make it work, but even her limited understanding is worlds away from mine.
I'm sorry. I wish I could do more.
Don't sweat it, you're doing fine.
Lie.
Maddie never taught me much. She, you know, makes the videos. I just do the talking.
My voice is quiet. Maybe this was a bad idea. All it seems to be doing is making her miss Maddie even more. And I'm sure as hell not good enough to replace her. At least I finally managed to get the camera to a point where it's actually filming.
Oh shit, you got it!
She's humoring me. The picture isn't even close to being in focus, as I managed to make the color even more washed out than this place already is. It doesn't look anything like her most recent video.
I can do better. There are still settings I haven't tried.
Tara claps me on the back. A bit too hard. She's so oblivious.
Ah, don't worry about it. The stuff is confusing. Maybe the blur will make it look more mysterious or something.
Sure.
She leans against a tree in front of the camera. On signal, I hit what I hope is record. Give her a slight nod and she's off.
Hello, everybody! Welcome to a very special, not quite an episode of Terranormal. We've had a lot of crazy shit go down in the past couple weeks, so Morgan and I are putting this together to make sure we don't miss anything. Who's Morgan, you ask? She's our inside woman, as they say. We wouldn't have found any of the stuff I'm about to tell you about if not for her, and she's been a hell of an assistant, too. Mads would be manning the camera right now, but, she's not here right now. It's complicated.
Her voice dips for a moment before launching back into her professional cheeriness.
So, where to begin? Well, I suppose I should start with a little story about a spirit, also known as the only time I've had fun in church.
She launches into her story without having to take a single moment to think about it. I feel like I'm watching her transform in front of me. Her uncertainty is gone, her anxiety is gone, that melancholy she had in her since Maddie disappeared is gone. It's like she's glowing. I wish I could tell her how wonderful it is to see, but I knew I'd never be able to say something like that.
Anyway, that's pretty much all we have right now. Hopefully Mads will be back soon.
I hear her voice shake for a fraction of a second. She corrects it instantly, but I know I heard it.
I'm not gonna lie, there's some bad shit out here. Maddie got caught up in it somehow, but it's nothing that's gonna last.
Tara, you purr baby.
Am I in danger too? Sure, but that's nothing new for me. You're talking to a girl who nearly got eaten by a bear because park rangers suck at their jobs. I'm just making this so we don't have as much to go over when we find her. The dry air out here is killer on my throat, so I could use the help.
She coughs loudly. Not sure if it's real or just for emphasis.
And Evelyn, if you find this, know that we're gonna make you pay for what you did.
Her voice breaks again. This time it's unmistakable. Maybe this was a bad idea. She takes a minute before she starts talking again. Her voice is shaky. Her face is a strange expression I've never seen before.
I'll do whatever I have to do, you know? If you're watching, I want you to know that. Can you just give me my friend back? Can you just do that now?
Tears begin to flow down her Tara's cheeks. She begins to crumple as she continues speaking. Oh, poor baby.
I'll do anything, I swear. I don't care if we don't find any more evidence. I don't need anything else from this trip. I just want Maddie back.
I can't just watch this anymore. I leave the camera and run to her side, throw my arms around her, and I feel her body sink into mine.
I'm sorry, Tara. I'm so sorry.
I wrap my arms tighter as I feel her legs give out. It's all I can do to keep her upright. She starts to sob into my shoulder. Unease settles into my chest. I never had to do anything like this before. But I have to try. I have to do something. Ah, crap. PNA, help me out here. There's only like 3 options and they lead to different endings. PNA, I need your help. What am I gonna do? Keep her strong. Okay. I hold her up as best I can. I can't just let her give in.
Tara, listen.
To ice away some of her tears, more keep coming.
Yeah?
We have to keep fighting. Whatever happened to Maddie, we'll make Evelyn pay for it. I promise.
She nods weakly.
Yeah, of course.
We'll do it for Maddie.
She sniffs some more, trying to focus the tears back in. Trying to force the tears back in. I can't help feeling guilty for encouraging her to stuff everything back down inside of her. But it won't be that way forever. Keeping so much pain inside you can break you in ways that are impossible to fix. I won't let her be like me.
You and I are going to make it happen. Together.
I worry that my words are just making her angry. I don't want it to seem like I don't care about Maddie. But they seem to be helping. She finally able to stand up on her own.
You're right. We got this. We'll make her pay.
She pulls away, her body still shaking.
It's the only way to make this right.
That's the spirit.
I make my way over to the camera and start packing it. I glance over at Tara while I do so. She seems to be doing better. Sometimes pushing everything back inside helps, for a moment anyway. We just need to stay focused on a goal. We don't talk on the ride back. Tara doesn't even fidget. It isn't until we stop in the village that she speaks.
I hope you don't think I'm mad at you for bringing us out here.
You aren't?
Nah, I know you just wanted to make something good happen for all of us. Things just didn't work out that way is all. Besides,
Her voice trails off into a mumble after a moment. She takes a deep breath and restarts.
Coming here meant I got to meet you. I'm sure as hell not complaining about that.
I'm sure you've met plenty of fans in person.
Yeah, but you're not just a fan. Not to me. You're a lot more than that.
What are you saying?
She suddenly looks away from me. I think she's trying to hide the fact that she's blushing, pearly.
I don't know, just I haven't ever really met anyone like you before is all.
For a moment, strange thoughts fill my head. I wanted her to say more than that. I don't know what I want it to be, I just want more. But I know better than to ask her for that.
If it helps, I haven't met anyone like you before either.
Well, I could have told you that one. I am one of a kind, you know.
No argument there.
I'm having a hard time looking at her. I don't know why this is a new feeling. Push it away and reach for the carriage door. There's a weird air in the Push it away and reach for the carriage door instead. There's a weird air in the carriage now.
Let's get inside. We still gotta figure out how much of your stuff we can fit in my closet.
I mean, I could just leave some of my clothes on the floor. That's what I do at home.
Not happening. I like being able to see my floor.
Can't blame a girl for trying.
Can't help but laugh. She laughs too. She's going to be okay. I know she will. I'm going to make sure she stays that way. Back over to Maddie and her ghost girlfriend. But before I do that, I need to go to the bathroom, so I shall be back in a moment. But now, I've all but given up on being able to see Tara again. But I can't abandon the idea without at least trying to get through to her. She deserves to know that I'm okay. Or at least okay as I can be given the circumstances. At first, Abigail was hesitant about interacting with other people. I don't blame her. After 2 centuries of solitude, talking to 3 complete strangers in the course of a few days would be a pretty jarring shift. Despite that, she understands how important this is to me. She also warns me that I can't venture too far in the village itself. The magic of the forest only extends so far, and there's no telling what would happen to us if we went past it. The border of magic isn't clear cut, so she made me promise to stay close to her. Just in case. Really lucky to have someone as accommodating as her with me. Even if we fail, it means a lot that she's willing to try. I too fell her in on what to expect from Tara and Morgan's personalities. Doing my best to be as charitable as I can when telling her how likely Tara is to completely flip out when she sees a ghost. Once she's fully prepared, we make our way to the cabin. It's empty. There's not a trace that anyone has been here in a few days. All Tara's things are gone. There's an instant relief that it seems like a planned escape.
Did you find something, Madison?
Can't help flinching as Abigail floats through the walls next to me. Incorporeality is one of those things I haven't been able to get used to.
I think so. It seems like the two of them went back to the village.
I don't even entertain the idea that she went home earlier, anything like that. It's not in her nature.
Do you think so? That sounds like it would be dangerous. Why would they put themselves in danger like that?
I have no idea. Hopefully we can ask them ourselves.
Abigail starts to back away, looking down at the ground.
Madison, of course I'll do my best to help you. But I feel like it would be remiss of me if I didn't warn you to not get your hopes up. It took me years to be able to manifest myself. The chances of you being able to communicate with them so soon are low.
That's okay. I didn't have much hope to begin with.
I don't like being the dour about things, but I don't see how else I'm supposed to feel. She looks stricken by my words, and I hesitantly try to gloss it over.
I mean, hey, you never know. If you can do it, maybe I can come along with you. The two of us together are bound to be able to accomplish more than we could on our own.
Together.
She looks down, grabbing a handful of her gown. She agreed to come with me before, but it seems like she's having second thoughts.
What's wrong?
It's just that accompanying you would mean returning to Eisenfeld again. I haven't returned since, well...
Oh no. I never even thought about asking about that. I've tried to avoid talking about her death as much as possible. Strange as it sounds, it feels like it would be rude in a way, invasive. But I should have at least checked with her before suggesting we make our way there.
I'm sorry, Abigail. I didn't mean to...
To my surprise, she hurries back towards me and nearly bumps her head against mine as she closes the gap between us.
You don't have to apologize, Madison. I agreed to help you, and I'm going to honor that commitment. Besides, maybe it could be good for me. I can't avoid going back there forever. And having you there will make the burden of memory much easier to bear.
Her conviction combined with her invasion of my personal space makes my face flush red, and for a moment it looks like she's worried she upset me. I give her the best smell I can manage. After years of making Tara normal, I'd hoped maybe a bit of Tara's charms and social skills would have rubbed off on me. They haven't.
If you say so. As long as you don't feel like I'm forcing you or anything.
Not at all. You've been nothing but kind to me, Madison. I want to repay that kindness.
If anything, she still feels like I'm in debt. I still feel like I'm indebted to her for saving my life. But I know she wouldn't see it that way. I've done my best to be polite, but I haven't exactly made any grand gestures of thanking her.
Thank you, Abigail. Really.
Of course. Now then, shall we?
Lead the way.
Every time Tara and I visited Eisenfeld, we were stared at everywhere we went. Now seeing everyone walk by Abigail and me without so much as a glance is surreal. Abigail gazes at the buildings as we pass by, occasionally pointing out one she remembers from her time. Her voice is a strange mix of excitement and melancholy. I'm not sure if I should encourage her mood or try to comfort her. As we enter the town square, we start to encounter large groups of people. Each time she passes close by, each time one passes close by, Abigail grabs onto my arm and moves closer to me. Is she scared of crowds, or is it something about the village itself? Something about the villagers themselves that has her shaking? I'm tempted to ask her, but I think better of it. For all I know, this fear could be connected to the way she died. My mind runs wild with possibilities. Maybe she was burned as a witch or cast out of the village. This definitely isn't helping. I need to focus. What class is tomorrow? Let me know the story later. I shall. Bye, Puny. Thankfully, it's not too long before we reach Morgan's house. I hope they're here, and most importantly, I hope we can reach them.
Are you ready, Abigail?
I'm ready. Let's go.
We face through the wall and into the kitchen. And there they are. Tara and Morgan sharing breakfast, close enough to touch. Give nearly anything to be able to hug them right now. The feelings are a mixture of guilt and elation, and worry, but more than anything, I'm glad she's okay, both her and Morgan. I need to talk to Tara. There's so much I need to say and ask.
Tara! Can you hear me?
Morgan, this is delicious. How the hell do you know how to make all this stuff?
Apparently, she can't. She doesn't even look in my direction.
Most of it I picked up from older folks in the village. The rest I pieced together from random cooking videos.
When all this is said and done, remind me to give those channels a shout out in an episode, because this rules.
Try moving my hand in front of their faces, hoping that maybe movement will convey my voice clearly. My voice clearly can't. Once again, no reaction. Morgan leans towards Tara, passing right through my hand.
Maybe you'll learn enough while you're here to make a few cooking videos yourself.
Are you asking because you actually think that'd be good, or do you just want to see another video where I almost burned my house down?
Morgan shrugs and gives Tara a small smirk. When Tara chuckles in response, I feel another surge of sadness. I know I shouldn't have expected this to work right away, but I'm still crestfallen. Having them this close hurts in a way I couldn't have imagined. All the time I spent feeling ignored while I was alive seems so trivial compared to this.
So what's the plan for today? Got anywhere in town we might be able to hit up for local lore?
Most of the official records of town history are sealed up in Evelyn's office, so those are off the table. But we might have some luck checking out older buildings around town. She's done a good job of cleaning up evidence of what Eisenfeld used to be, but maybe you'll notice something I didn't.
Sure, I mean, it's worth a shot.
Her voice barely contains a trace of the fire I'm so used to. I have to hope that at least the remaining trace is a sign that she'll regain that fire someday. At least she's not alone. Morgan reaches out and puts her hand on Tara's shoulder, squeezing gently. When she speaks, her words are soft and strained.
Are you going to be okay?
What do you mean?
After yesterday, if you need some time to rest, nobody's going to blame you.
Tara looks down for a moment, but when she looks up again, her eyes hold that same fire I saw so often back home.
I'm good. The sooner we get some clues, the sooner we can end this shit for good.
Are you sure?
100%. We got this.
I feel that urge to hug her again, even stronger than I did before. They don't have a shred of evidence to suggest I'm anything other than dead and gone, but she hasn't given up. As I still don't feel any kind of power within me that I could use to manifest myself. Abigail's my only hope. I turn to her, trying to keep my voice leveled despite my desperation.
Abigail, do you think you can manifest? Even if I can't reach them, maybe you can.
Abigail nods, but she's frowning. My heart wasn't exactly soaring, but I can feel it sink even further.
I'll try, but whatever power I had that allowed me to appear to you has felt much weaker since I used it to save you.
Abigail closes her eyes and starts to lift higher off the ground. As I watch, I feel a strange feeling in the air around me. As if bending around her, being pulled aside so she can step through the border between our worlds. For a moment it seems like it's actually working. I'm trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to say when I feel the energy in the air start to fade. Abigail seems to be struggling, furrowing her brow as she sways in the air. Her face scrunches and guilt stabs me like a knife. Is she in pain?
Abigail, stop. It's okay.
Maybe if I just try a little harder.
I reach out and gently take her hand, lowering her to the ground. She opens her eyes, breathing hard. As much as I want to see Tara, it's not worth making her feel like this.
It's okay. I promise. We can try again some other time.
Abigail gives a faint nod and stares down at her feet. Her hands ball into fists as her shoulders rise and fall.
I'm so sorry, Madison. I don't understand why this is happening.
There aren't any rulebooks for this sort of thing. I don't blame you for not knowing about things most people think are impossible to begin with.
Disappointment I'm feeling takes a backseat to the concern for Abigail's well-being. I've already put her through a lot by making her come here in the first place.
We knew beforehand that this was a long shot. I'm just happy I got to see them again.
Are you sure?
I'm not, but I know that if I tell her that she'll want to try again. It's better this way.
I'm sure. You've done more than enough by coming with me.
I look back at Tara and Morgan, trying what I pray isn't my final glance at them. To my surprise, Tara is leaning against Morgan's shoulder, and Morgan's arm is wrapped around her in a loose hug.
Thank you. As messed up as all this is, I'm glad that you're the one helping me get through it.
Tara's voice is soft and it carries a vulnerability I don't think I've ever heard from her before.
Same here. We make a good team.
Tara raises her head to look at Morgan. Their faces inches apart.
We should have a team name, like the Dream Team or something.
We'll work on it.
I already had a feeling that the two of them had something going on before all this happened. I'm not that surprised. If I'm being honest, stuff like this has happened before. But it's always a one-night stand or some kind of quick fling. Never the kind of thing that would merit real vulnerability. Then again, she's never been in a situation like this before. Maybe losing me brought out a part of her I never knew she had. As if in response to my thoughts, Morgan leads forward and kisses Tara. It's all a lot more than a simple peck on the lips. This is something deeper, so deep in fact that I have to turn away. It seems sort of wrong to spy on something that intimate. Next to me, Abigail has also turned away. Her face is bright crimson. Her hands are close to her chest. I didn't stop to consider this is the first act of intimacy she's seen in centuries. For all I know, this could be the first time she's ever seen two women kiss.
You okay?
She looks up at me, slightly alarmed.
Yes. I'm okay. I just wasn't prepared for something like that.
Trust me, I wasn't either.
Abigail pauses for a moment, closing her eyes and taking a calming breath. A small smile crosses Abby's face as she blushes, her white eyes softening.
It is nice though, isn't it? A love like that can give someone incredible strength.
Yeah, I'm happy for them.
I really am. Maybe this will help her cope better now that I'm gone.
But we should probably go. I feel really weird being here for this.
Of course. Maybe we can try this again another time.
Her words lack conviction, but she doesn't protest. I have to think of some way to cheer her up once we get back to the church.
Hey, do you want to maybe...
Front door creaks open. All four of us freeze as we face the entrance. Evelyn stalks in and slams the door behind her. She doesn't say anything, but neither do Tara and Morgan. Tara's shaking and Morgan places a protective arm in front of her as she glares at her mother. I shiver too, desperately wanting to look away, but feeling unable to. Part of me screams to do something, anything to get her away from Morgan and Tara. Yeah, there's a strong part of me screaming, I need to leave, I need to get out of here, but I feel just as frozen as the day I died. I feel Abigail on my arm, pulling me backwards. She pulls my body through the connecting wall, and only when Evelyn is out of my vision can I breathe again. Abigail presses against me, just as stunned as I am. I turn to keep her calm, telling myself that she doesn't even know we're here, that she can't hurt me anymore. Evelyn passes through the door and by the corner where Abigail and I are looking. She stops. Slowly her head turns back to look where we are, where there's otherwise just empty space. She's so close that I can see her face contort in recognition and shock.
Madison!
I turn my head towards Abigail to see that She's already starting to head for the wall, waiting for me to follow her. It's enough to snap me out of my trance. I run to her, casting a backwards glance at Evelyn to make sure she isn't following us. She doesn't move, but her eyes trace us as we run. Right before I pass through the wall, her mouth opens.
How?
I don't stick around to find out what she's saying, what she says next. Abigail and I run as fast as we can, phasing through some buildings and people with reckless abandon. After what we just saw, all other fears feel inconsequential. By the time we're back in the forest, it's clear that Evelyn has no interest in pursuing us, for now at least.
Madison, are you okay?
She puts her hand on my shoulder, pulling me closer to her. My head throbs painfully and my breath is shaky, but her touch grounds me.
I'm not sure, but I'm a lot better now that we have some distance between us and her.
She looks backwards towards the village, half expecting her to come flying at us like some kind of demon.
She saw us, Abigail. How is that possible?
Abigail looks down at the ground, and I realize she's shaking as hard as I am.
I wish I knew. Madison, she said something to you before we left, didn't she?
Yeah, I didn't catch all of it, but I think I know what she was going to say. She looked shocked when she saw us. Confused, even. I think she didn't know about us being out here.
Abigail's voice is barely above a whisper when she speaks. Her face is drained of colour.
But now she does.
The message is clear. As long as Evelyn is in Eisenfeld, we can't be. I'm sorry, Tara. I'm sorry, Morgan. But it looks like you're on your own. Shit, okay. I got really curious, and I went to check. Apparently we chose the wrong option. To get the good ending. And I really want to get the fucking good ending. Because I'm not playing all this and just watching them die. So let me try something. It is technically cheating, but fuck you, it's my stream, I can do whatever I want. Let's just fast forward for all this. We already saw all this. No. Right, let's try this again. I wrap my arms tighter as I feel her legs give out. It's all I can do to keep her upright. She starts to sob into my shoulder. Unease settles into my chest. I never had to do anything like this before. I have to try. I have to do something. I have to let her mourn. Everything that's happened has been my fault. There's probably nothing I could say that could make up for that. Maybe I shouldn't say anything. Just hold her like this, because it will comfort us all. I'm good at it after all. I'll take care of her. It's the least I can do. I lower her hands down to the ground slowly. I don't even feel the snow on me.
Take your time. Getting it out will help.
This is all such bullshit. Why would she take meds? She wasn't causing any trouble.
She grabs handfuls of my sweater, where her hands rest against me. I don't stop her.
I could have helped her. I could have talked this out with her, but I didn't. And because of that, I
squeeze her tighter. There's nothing else I can do. I gave up on thinking of something to say. I'm better at giving nothing away. I'm better at saying nothing anyway.
I should have let her stay home. I should have listened to her when we were out here.
She pulls away from me and sits down on the snow. Then she smiles. It's a bitter, broken smile. The kind of smell you can only form when you don't know what else to say. What else to do.
I just keep ruining things, huh?
Tara, you aren't the reason the two of you came here. I was. This is on me.
She has to know I'm right, deep down. I don't want her to hate me, but I'd much rather she hates me than hate herself. So I hold Tara. I hold her with as much tenderness as I can, and she breaks into heaving sobs on my shoulder. I feel her body rocking with loss and pain. Her hot tears fall and freeze on the ground below us. I let her feel the extent of her grief. It's a pain I can never understand, the pain of losing someone important to you. Meeting Tara, I've only just started to know what that bond is like, but I can't compare to what she has with Maddie. Tara's wailing grows muffled as she buries her face in my chest and hugs me tightly. Hesitantly, I stroke her hair in return. The time passes. Eventually, Tara grows quiet. She sniffs and shakes in my arms, but relaxes with each breath. I never found any words to say. We sit there together until finally Tara lifts herself from me. Her face red and puffy. She gives me a weak smile and wipes her face. I start to pack up the camera and she cleans herself up. Seems like that may have helped after all. I should just leave it be and head back with her. But one thought keeps burning in my head. I have to tell her.
Tara. I'm going to make sure you get Maddie back. No matter what.
She stares at me, like I just spoke to her in another language. Then she finally gives me a smile that doesn't have an ounce of sorrow in it.
I know. If anyone can, it's you.
I'm not sure what she meant by that. I hope she's not thinking of the same thing I am. She probably thinks I'm just a talking beg, like I'm some brave knight going to kill a dragon. I wish that was true. But I'm thinking about the one way I know I can save her, the way that only I can. And that's to give Evelyn what she wants. Me. Alright, we may skip back to where we were. I guess it's kind of technically cheating. It's technically cheating to look up a guide, but I want the good ending. So you can go fuck yourselves. I'm invested in this shit, and I don't. I don't want to. I don't want to see my babies. Yeah, let me check something. Anyway, let's finish this chapter. My soul sings that out of everywhere I've been, that would be the place she wants to return. I rush to her side, drawn to her presence like a magnet. Simply being near her makes me happy. A part of my mind screams at me that I don't deserve it. The same way that she doesn't deserve to be miserable. Still, put on my brightest smile as I touch her arm.
That sounds perfect. I'd like nothing better. Shall we go now?
Yeah, sure.
As is tradition, I lead the way out of the church towards the forest. The trees and branches part invitingly, familiar and old. As the forest take us to the clearing, and I can feel it ripple in response. Not physically, but in my heart. I know the forest is listening. It's difficult to explain. So much of this existence has become habit and routine for me, that I keep taking for granted the difficulties Madison must be going through. The emotional turmoil, coupled with the way her own understanding of the universe itself keeps changing. I feel another pain in my heart as that stab of guilt once more for enjoying her presence. Madison accompanies me unhesitatingly. Her steps more confident than they used to be. We walk side by side. I relish the closeness. I wonder if it's even crossed her mind. When we reach the clearing, Madison sighs contently, relaxed and easy. A tranquil expression settles on her face like a masterpiece of art. I spend the whole day appreciating that look if I could. The grove's serenity is contagious. I almost feel a little more peace here. I head for the shore of the pond, as still and glassy as ever.
I really love it here.
I nod. Of course, we discussed it before, but I don't mind. I could listen to her talk about anything for any amount of time.
It actually reminds me of somewhere back at home. There's a little lake near where Tara and I live. Sometimes I like to go and sit down there to think. There are a ton of geese and ducks around too. Sometimes they won't leave you alone, so you just have to ignore them.
Envision a flock of birds surrounding Madison, all quacking and vying for her attention.
Maybe they want you to sing to them too.
Madison laughs, sweet and subtle. It's the most beautiful sound in the world.
Nah, they just want food. It's really popular to go down and feed them. Moms do it with their kids a lot. But then the birds get so used to it that they think every human has frozen peas for them.
They must be disappointed quite often then.
Yeah.
She trails off, looking wistful. I'm sure that she's thinking of home. Try not to ask her much about her life before I met her, as I know that the memories hurt. To my surprise, though, Madison clears her throat and continues talking.
I wish that you could see it someday. My home, I mean, in America. I think you'd like it there.
I'm sure that I would. I'd love to see any place that you care so much about. All of the buildings and the lights.
Try to envision what it might be like, but it's futile. There's so much that I don't know, so many things that I haven't seen. Trying to imagine is like trying to imagine a color that's never been seen before. No matter what she says, it's impossible to visualize. Even the memories I have from the few times I left Eisenfeld have long since faded. To me, the only world that exists now is the forest.
I keep thinking, in your time, what would I have been like? Would I be the same person if I never fell in love with films?
Films?
Oh, it's like a play that you can watch anytime. They're really compelling.
I see.
Madison moves her arms a little, looking like she wants to say more, but eventually just shakes her head. She smiles a bit sadly.
There are so many things like that. Films or events in history that are so normal to me, but that I keep forgetting you don't know about. So if I ever say anything that makes no sense at all, I can try to explain.
There are a lot of things I've wondered about, it's true. For instance, sometimes I'll see great noisy machines up in the sky. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Madison giggles again, but I don't know why.
Yeah, those are called airplanes. They're kind of like giant carriages that carry people around. That's how we got from America to here.
What? Don't tease me like that. There's no way something like that could fly.
No, it's true. It's really true. They're the fastest way to get around the world. There are also these things called cars, which are much smaller and only fit a few people. But most people own their own car and use it to get around.
Do you have one?
I do.
Why not use that to cross the ocean?
She laughs again, and I don't know why. At first I feel embarrassed, the gulf of knowledge that I lack nearly as wide as the ocean that she claims to have crossed. Then she steps closer, placing her arm around me in a light hug. Again, I don't know why. But it's lovely. I feel myself relaxing, leaning against her arms and just enjoying the closeness, the comfort, the affection. Far too soon, Madison relaxes and I regretfully pull away from her. She gazes up at the sky and for a brief moment I anticipate another lesson about the modern world.
I've been thinking a lot about what you said the other day. About how you've never wanted to leave this place.
Yes, I'm far too cowardly for that.
And in many other ways too.
I don't think that's cowardly at all. It's difficult to leave behind what you know and what feels safe. In fact, it's really scary. I know that the two don't really compare, but before I decided to quit Tara's show, I felt the same way. Like I was afraid to leave, just because I was so used to it being part of my life. But I decided that if I wasn't happy with how things were, that I should just take the risk and change something. Everyone has those worries, though. That doesn't make you a coward.
Madison half smiles, the side of her mouth curling up just a little bit.
If we ever do find a way out of here, maybe you could come back to America with me.
She's joking. I'm sure that she doesn't mean it, or at least not fully. Yet my heart flutters like a bird taking flight. Even after everything that happened, that she'd even have concern for someone like me. She truly is the most extraordinary person I've met. And as happy as her offer makes me, it hurts like a knife in my heart because I know that I could never be. I wouldn't deserve that kind of happiness anyway. Oh, baby. Still, I smell back in kind.
That might be nice. Would I have to ride on an airplane?
Oh, definitely. People don't really take boats across the ocean for travel anymore. Not nearly as much. Pretty much everyone flies.
Isn't that scary? How does something so heavy manage to stay up in the air?
It's kind of scary the first few times, but you get used to it. As for how it's possible, well, there's all sorts of science behind it, but that would take too long to explain. Anyway, though, you could stay with me and Tara. We've got plenty of space. Or we could help you find your own apartment. There's a lot you'd have to learn about the modern world, of course, but it'd be worth it, and we could help you learn.
Madison continues on, explaining this and that procedures we'd have to go through and how we'd overcome each obstacle. I play my part, smiling and nodding along. It's an easy role. It does sound wonderful, in fact. There's nothing I'd like more. And though at first I thought she was joking, she's being completely serious. And that makes it hurt even more. Because I know it's impossible. I close my eyes to help hide the tears that have sprung there, unbidden. Unfortunately, Madison doesn't even seem to notice. Her voice trails off, and when I open my eyes again, I see that she's looking past me, her eyes wide with awe. I spin around, fluttering about, far too early in the day. Oh shit!
Are those the fairies you were talking about?
Yes.
A handful of them flit amongst the trees and lights, paying us no mind. They move like dancers, their motions fluid and in sync with each other. As one rises up to adjust to hanging light, another fairy weaves between the branches, carrying something in its hands that I can't see. Though I only spy a few of them right now, I'm sure that many more are just out of sight, deeper in the grove, or otherwise nearby. Madison watches them with unabashed awe.
What are they doing?
I shrug.
I'm not sure. I've never seen them out during the day like this. Usually they stay hidden in their hive until the moon is out. They aren't like humans. They're something entirely different. Even though I've spoken with them before, I don't really understand them.
Wait, they can talk? Like they can speak human language?
Yes. They aren't the most eloquent, but yes.
I see.
The only time I've talked with them was the first time I came to the Grove, all on my own. At first, they had tried to drive me out, but eventually realized I meant them no harm. Since then, we haven't interacted.
They're part of the forest too, right? In the connected way that you were talking about before.
Yes.
She makes a sound in acknowledgement, but doesn't say anything more. Whatever implications or meanings that might have to goes unspoken. Soon the fairies disappear once more into the trees. Whatever business that called them here is finished. They go silently, not even the hum of their tiny wings reaches us. After only seconds, we're left all alone again.
They weren't anything like I expected.
Really? How so?
In stories I've heard, fairies are always smaller and look like little people with wings. Not like what we just saw. And they usually live in flowers and fields, not the snow. But those are just stories, of course. I keep having to remind myself that this is real life, and that real life doesn't care what happens in stories.
Madison looks down at the pond. Gently, she places the tip of her foot into the water. Of course, the water remains still, like she isn't even there. She takes a tentative step forward, still standing on the water. It supports her effortlessly. Her hands are slightly outstretched, as if she might lose balance or footing and fall in. She turns around to face me.
I had an idea, actually, about getting out of here. Do you think that the forest spirit could help us? It's powerful, right? Maybe it could use its magic to make us humans again. We could even talk to it together. You'd seriously be welcome to come back with me and Tara. I'd like that a lot, actually.
I can't look at her. Couldn't meet her eyes. All I can do is nod, trying to smile and hoping she doesn't see my tears.
I'd like that too. Perhaps it could help. There's certainly a chance.
There isn't. Her face lights up, even the prospect of leaving makes her happy.
Great! Maybe we can plan together what the best way to ask it would be?
I just nod again, that's all I can do.
Sure.
Can't bring myself to tell her the truth. And no matter what she asks, what she says, there's no way the spirit can grant her wish. It's not just something that I can it's not just something that can be reversed. Her moral form was destroyed by Evelyn, just shortly after I saved her spirit. As far as the rest of the world is concerned, Madison Rains no longer exists. Neither the forest spirit nor I have the power to remake her. There's no escape. God damn. This game. So I'm checking again. We didn't actually have to go back to redo that option. But we've done it now. And I can't be asked changing it. So let's just save over our current one. There we are. We could have got the good ending either way, but oh well, I didn't know. Nothing but that small scene changes anyway. I'll just need to remember to edit it properly when I get around to putting together a full walkthrough or a full playthrough. But anyway, I'll end the stream here. Chances are I'll stream tomorrow. Maybe. I need to get up for college on Wednesday. Can skip it all week. But I'll need to see. Bye.